Thank you very much. Brilliant. Thank you very much for the introduction and for the invitation. I really feel excited and humbled at the same time to be standing in front of you talking about my journey, my experience. But I think that what I'm going to tell you today will resonate with many of you in the room. So my voice will only serve to communicate also what you are feeling. So for that, I would like to ask you, please raise your hand if English is not your first language. Okay. Now, please raise your hand if you've applied for a visa at least once. And please raise your hand if your extended or immediate family is abroad. Real. See, we have many points in common, and with what I'm going to share today, I'm sure there will be some other points that will resonate with you. I'm from Ecuador. It's a country located in Latin America, right on top of the equator line, and this is where my journey began. I obtained my degree in chemical engineering in 2012, and I had work experience there, working both in a multinational cement company, and you can see the picture there. This is me inside a cement kiln, rotary kiln, during maintenance. And I also worked in mining sector with a government funding research institute. Then I decided to pursue a master's degree, and I came for the first time to the UK. And I got my degree in 2015 at the University of Manchester. When I finished this degree, I moved back to my country and I enrolled academia. I work in 2 different universities, and I enjoyed a lot the teaching, the being in contact with the students and other academics, and then is when I felt ready to start a PhD. And I returned to the UK again, to the University of Manchester, where I obtained my PhD degree in 2023, and my family grew as well at the same year. And there is where my current role also started. I'm based at the Department of Chemical Engineering, and here there is my research group. Our research focus is about chemical looping, and this is us in a conference. And thanks to technology, I'm still able to be in contact and contribute to my home country. I'm supporting the delivery of a master's degree in chemical engineering with a series of guest lectures. And this is a summary about me, bachelor's, master's, and PhD in chemical engineering with industrial experience of about 3.5 years, then research experience in different fields, teaching experience in Ecuadorian universities, 6 publications, around 10 conference contributions in different countries, and more recently, an enthusiastic science communicator. And this certainly goes into my CV, but this is only the tip of the iceberg, because we don't really see what is beneath the surface, and that's why the title of my speech. First of all, something that we all relate to as academics is all the failed experiments, the failed grant applications, job applications, the things that went wrong, that don't make it into the CV, but makes us the academics and researchers we are. And then looking at my specific lens as an early career researcher, having these short-term contracts that bring some uncertainty about what happens next. And then there are some other layers that are not often talked about. The first is parenting in academia, that suddenly your sleep is not the same and you cannot perform at your best when you're not well rested, and when traveling becomes more difficult, especially when kids are young. And this is important to continue building an academic career. And even deeper is about being an international member of staff. The many times we need to apply for visas, and coming back to the short-term contract, that this is something that we need to reapply for visas constantly. And although the university supports the fees for renewing visas, that's not the case for dependents. And if we have to do it a few times a year, that's really a burden, a financial burden. Also, the conditions of the visa sometimes doesn't allow us to access some sort of funding support, for example, for childcare that was mentioned before. But there is also a brighter side. And I agree with that Jasmine said, that what is that we bring to this country being internationals, but also what is that this country offers us. It's not about only the challenges. Let's see a little bit of the brighter side. First of all, outreach. Personally, for me, I've been fortunate to have platforms to go beyond the walls of the university and to reach wider audiences through the university, but also STEM ambassadors. That is a very strong network around the UK. And this is me being part of the show in some of my favorite museums in Manchester. Science communication. I like talking, I like speeches, and being here first, since I was a PhD student, I got involved in the 3-minute thesis competition, in the FAME Lab competition when I started in my role as a postdoc, and this eventually led to be part of a radio show, and I currently have a monthly segment about science. It's a Spanish-speaking radio show for the northwest of England. So this is something I'm very proud of, having my own show in radio. About equality, diversity, and inclusion, that is something that I think we are progressing. There are discussions about it, but definitely there are more things that can be done. And for this, for example, being invited to share my experience as a woman in engineering at the Instituto Cervantes, also being part of a panel discussion organized by Toastmasters International, that is an international organization looking at leadership and public speaking skills. And more recently, a speech I delivered invited by the Manchester Institute of Biotechnology EDI team. Entrepreneurship. I believe that the university has a fantastic ecosystem to promote developing or creation of new businesses in many forms. It could be technology, but it also could be social business. And this is something I got enrolled only this year. And I joined the Social Impact Pathway from the Massoud Enterprise Center. And I'm trying to set up a social business that will impact my country, Ecuador. This idea, I have it very close to my heart, because it's to create a hospice in Ecuador to provide care and for patients that are terminally ill and their families. And the reason for this is that I had experienced that myself when my mom was very ill in Ecuador. And this is something that I truly believe that can change the experience of a patient and their families when they are towards the end of life. And obviously, research. So these are the projects I've been involved with since I started my current role. I would like you to have a look for a few seconds to the information that is available there. A common theme is that all of them focus on decarbonization, so that's what I'm working in, but what else do you see in common in the description of all these projects? Any thoughts? Industrial partners, okay. Sorry? Overlapping, yeah. So I've tried to create a word cloud of things, and one of those things is the funding available. Yeah, there are large projects with a lot of money, partners, networks, innovation. There's all the things that we can have because we are in this part of the world. And in my opinion, some of the reasons behind that, first of all, is the institution. The university is a top ranked university that encourages research and supports different initiatives. Then, in general, the UK supports with grants and also is keen for innovation, for example, supporting decarbonization, and also being very close to the European Union, where we can also have access to these grants. I mean, we as a collective, as a university. And I brought here some data that tell us a little bit about innovation, and that's about research, and also give us an idea where the funding is available. If we see at the color scale, the more yellow are the ones that, or the light green, are the countries that have the show at largest innovation index. And that means that lots of things in research, in funding are happening. And we see that this is concentrated in Europe, in North America, and a little bit in China. And when we came to this country, I'm sure nobody knew what would happen 5, 10 years down the road. And certainly that was also my case. I wasn't sure where my path will be. But last year, I attended a talk in Leeds that changed my perspective. I met an academic from Colombia. So Colombia is a neighboring country with Ecuador. So we sort of share the same culture. And he shared his research applied in many countries, in Africa, in Asia, in the Americas. And I thought, I wonder, what if he stayed in Colombia? Would he have had the same impact? The same person doing the same research, perhaps not with the same funding, but then my realization was that the impact was there, but the difference was that it is amplified. The reason of being in this country and having all these resources around allows our impact to be amplified. And that is something I would like you to take with you today about the International Staff Network. That is, if we get together, we can amplify this impact even further. And I'm very happy that I've been able to build communities to support or be involved with communities to support all the activities I've been doing. I've commented about science communication, motherhood, Toastmasters. That is a very nice community that I joined since I was a PhD student. And I would really like to see this community growing and strengthening, because we need to get together to make things work. And I would like you to take away these 3 ideas. First of all, to make the invisible visible. Ask questions, listen, and create spaces like this to talk about, and I'm sure we will find points in common and we will be able to support each other. The other is to build connections. That is not exactly the same as building a network, because a connection is something more close, something that you get to know the person a little bit better over a coffee, over a conversation, probably in spaces that are a bit more, you say, introduce colleagues to each other, share opportunities, and maybe invite them to events like this or conversations where they can be involved, and support the International Staff Network. You have done a very great effort today to come in spite of the rain and participate, contribute with ideas, attend events, tell others about what's happening. And I'm sure that we will make things better for us and for those that will come after us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isabel, for such an inspiring talk. Okay, so our next speaker is